Good morning, everybody, and welcome you all after a long while to this next video lesson of nationalism in India. So we just have started this chapter, and in our last video we have discussed about the new dramatic situation created by the First World War. We also discuss about entrance of Mahatma Gandhi into Indian politics, and we also discuss about initial experiment of Gandhiji of Satyagraha in India, in West Champaran, after that in Ahmedabad, and after that in Kheda. So Gandhiji initially launched all these three successful protests against the British. What was the weapon utilized by Gandhiji upon all these three fronts? The weapon utilized by Gandhiji in all this front was Satyagraha. The weapon that was utilized by Gandhiji in all this protest was Satyagraha. So now we would like to understand what it is. What is Satyagraha and what is the idea behind Satyagraha? So simply Satyagraha, from the word itself it is clear, Satya के लिए आग्रह करना. That means Satyagraha is a mode of struggle. Satyagraha is a mode of struggle, or Satyagraha is an idea. Satyagraha is an idea, or Satyagraha is a mode of struggle with passive resistance. So Satyagraha is the idea of non-violent resistance, or Satyagraha is a mode of struggle. Satyagraha is a mode of struggle through passive resistance. So you could write Satyagraha is the idea of non-violent resistance, Satyagraha is the idea of passive resistance, Satyagraha is a mode of struggle through passive resistance, through non-violent resistance. So now your homework begins from here, and this is one challenging one. So here is a photograph. You will have to find out who is Mahatma Gandhi in this photograph. So actually Mahatma Gandhi is there in this photograph, but it is very tough to recognize him. So you will have to recognize who is Mahatma Gandhi in this figure. Now, one important question: what is idea behind Satyagraha? What is idea behind Satyagraha? Let's see. If you are fighting against injustice, if you are fighting for the truth, if you are fighting against injustice, if you are fighting for the truth, then physical force is not necessary. Physical force is not necessary to win the battle. Even without seeking vengeance, बिना बदले की भावना के, without seeking vengeance or without using violent method, a satyagrahi could win the battle. But how? Satyagrahi could win the battle by appealing the conscience. Conscience, that means अंतरात्मा. Appealing the conscience, अंतरात्मा को जगाने की कोशिश करना. तो सत्याग्रही could win the battle by appealing the conscience of oppressor. कब तक? तब तक जब तक कि वो सत्य को पहचान नहीं लेता. Rather than force them to accept the truth with violent method. No, this is not Satyagraha. What it is? Appeal to the conscience of oppressor till the oppressor will realize the truth. So the idea of Satyagraha emphasizes the power of truth and the need to search for truth. It suggested that if the cause was true, if the struggle was against injustice, if you are fighting for the truth, if you are fighting against injustice, then physical force is not necessary to fight the oppressor. Without seeking vengeance or being aggressive, a satyagrahi could win the battle through non-violence. This could be done by appealing to the conscience of the oppressor till the oppressor realize the truth, instead of being forced them to accept the truth through violent method. And in this mode of struggle, satyagrahi are bound to trump ultimately. In this struggle, satyagrahi are bound to trump ultimately. इस स्ट्रगल में निश्चित तौर पे सत्याग्रही जो भी हैं उनकी विजय होती है. तो two important question is here. What do you mean by satyagraha and what is the idea behind satyagraha? Or one question we already have done earlier, initial experiment of satyagraha by Gandhiji in India. Now, as we have discussed in the first video that in this chapter we will proceed after the World War, First World War. So let's see, during the First World War, middle class educated Indian political leader and Mahatma Gandhi also were supporting the British during the war. During the war, even Mahatma Gandhi called upon Indian to join the British army, and for that he marched village to village to persuade the people to join the British army. So before arriving to India in 1914, Gandhiji was in London, where he met with senior British politicians, and they requested Gandhiji to persuade Indian to join the army, especially when in the Eastern Asian front, when the war begins. So during that time also large number of Indian soldiers were recruited by the Britishers, and for that Gandhiji was British politician requested Gandhiji to appeal the Indians to join. And during that time, but why Gandhiji or some political leader or even educated middle class or even nationalist leader were supporting British during the war? तो एक तो देखो, ये हमारे संस्कार में है कि जब भी कोई गर्दिश में होता है तो चाहे वो हमारा दुश्मन भी हो, उस वक्त हम दुश्मनी भूल जाते हैं और उसकी मदद करने की कोशिश करते हैं. तो एक तो ये जो हमारी इंडियन जो संस्कृति है, जो इंडियन सिविलाइजेशन है, हमारे मिट्टी की जो खासियत है, तो एक तो ये कारण, और दूसरा ये भी कि वी वेयर होपिंग दैट इफ वी विल सपोर्ट द ब्रिटिश ड्यूरिंग दिस टाइम, after the war will comes to an end, we will get some incentive from the British. So what was in our mind, that we were supporting the British wholeheartedly, and that's why when the war will comes to an end, then we will get some incentive. The First World War comes to an end in 1919. The First World War comes to an end in 1919. After that, to suppress, to curb the nationalist leader, मतलब after the First World War, the first incentive that we got from the British, हमने युद्ध में उनकी मदद की, तो युद्ध खत्म होते ही हमको ये लग रहा था कि कुछ इंसेंटिव मिलेगा, मतलब some good British will do for us, for Indians or for India. So first incentive we got in form of Rowlatt Act. The first incentive that we got was in form of Rowlatt Act. What was this Rowlatt Act? तो सर सिडनी रॉलेट was a British judge, और इन्हीं की अध्यक्षता में एक कमेटी बनाई गई थी, और a proposed act was known as, इन्हीं के नाम पे उसको रॉलेट एक्ट के नाम से जानते हैं. तो एक्चुअली द नेम ऑफ दिस एक्ट, फेमसली दिस लॉ इज known as Rowlatt Act, but actual name of this act was the Anarchical and Revolutionary Crime Act. But as Sidney Rowlatt was the president of that committee who proposed this law. So that's why this law is famously known as Rowlatt Act. So it was the first incentive that we got just after the First World War. What was this law? So according to Rowlatt Act, any Indian or nationalist leader could be imprisoned for 2 years without trial. So it was termed as Black Act. It was passed by the Imperial Legislative Council. It was passed by the Imperial Legislative Council. Or if you would like to know what do you mean by Imperial Legislative Council, so actually dual government was introduced by the Britishers according to Government India Act 1919. Government of India Act 1919. A dual government was introduced by the British, and a legislative was formed in India in which Indians also were allowed to join. So who were the Indian member was in this Imperial Legislative Council? They vehemently opposed this law, but even though this Imperial Legislative Council hurriedly passed this act, famously it is known as Rowlatt Act, it was termed as Black Act. इसको काला कानून का नाम दिया गया. So actually it gave the British police immense power to imprison anybody without any evidence, without any cause, without any and also for 2 years. तो actually जो आज है या उस वक्त भी even if anybody is to be imprisoned, so you will have to say cause, and also that person will be given a chance to prove his innocence in the court. If they are innocent, they have a chance to prove it in the court. But according to Rowlatt Act, anybody could be imprisoned for 2 years and even without trial. So that's why about this law it was being said, no appeal, no dalil, no वकील. कोई अपील नहीं, कोई दलील नहीं, कोई वकील नहीं, सीधा 2 साल के लिए अंदर. तो this law was, मतलब Rowlatt Act was passed to curb the nationalist leader, to throttle the nationalist leader. That's why this Rowlatt Act was vehemently opposed. So what do you mean by Rowlatt Act? The Imperial Legislative Council hurriedly passed an act that was termed as Rowlatt Act. According to this act, any Indian could be imprisoned for 2 years without trial. So this act was also termed as Black Act. So on 6th April 1919, Mahatma Gandhi started a non-violent satyagraha against this unjust Rowlatt Act passed by the British government. तो इस अनजस्ट एक्ट के अगेंस्ट में महात्मा गांधी started Rowlatt Satyagraha, and this Rowlatt Satyagraha began with a strike, a huge strike, countrywide strike on 6th of April. So this Rowlatt Satyagraha began on 6th April 1919 with a strike, with a hartal. Now this Rowlatt Satyagraha was going on, but somewhere violent incident also occurred during Rowlatt Satyagraha when Mahatma Gandhi launched Rowlatt Satyagraha. So actually it was instruction of Gandhi that we are going to have a non-violent resistance. That means we will utilize the idea of Satyagraha for this passive resistance. We will do passive resistance. But even though some violent incident occurred at several places. Now in Punjab also some violence incident occurred in Punjab by the nationalist leader. 2 very famous leader was there in Punjab, Saifuddin Kichlu and Satyapal. तो टू फेमस लीडर among the Punjabis in the Punjab, two famous leaders were there, Dr. Satyapal and Saifuddin Kichelu. So Satyapal and Saifuddin Kichelu was arrested under Rowlatt Act. Saifuddin Kichelu and Satyapal was arrested under Rowlatt Act. So when these two eminent leaders of Punjab were arrested under Rowlatt Act, so violent incident intensified, especially in Amritsar and surrounding areas. So several violent incident begins, and due that a curfew was imposed in Amritsar. A curfew was imposed. Now at 9 on the morning of 13th April 1990, it was 13th April 1990. It was the day of Baisakhi, and we know that Baisakhi is celebrated as New Year's Day by the Punjabis. Baisakhi को पंजाब न्यू ईयर डे के रूप में सेलिब्रेट करते हैं. And during Baisakhi, a festive fair is being organized in the urban area, even semi-urban area. So around from nearby villages, people usually come to town to see the fair. जैसे दुर्गा पूजा का मेला तुम लोग ढूंढने जाते हो या फिर और दूर गांव से शहर में आते हैं लोग देखने, द सेम वे कि अमृतसर के भी आसपास जो गांव है वहाँ से लोग मेला देखने के लिए शहर आते थे. तो पीपल वेयर इन मूड ऑफ फेस्टिव मूड. नाउ उस वक्त कम्युनिकेशन इतना स्ट्रांग था नहीं. कम्युनिकेशन वॉज नॉट वेरी स्ट्रांग ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम कि विलेजर्स को पता हो सबको कि नहीं शहर में कर्फ्यू लगा हुआ है. तो कर्फ्यू हैड बीन इम्पोज इन द अमृतसर, बट इट वॉज villagers were unaware about this communication due to lack of communication during that time. तो जिस तरह से यूजुअली प्रत्येक साल मेला देखने के लिए आते थे, द सेम वे दिस ईयर ऑल्सो ऑन 13th April, so many villagers come to Amritsar to see the fair. Children, women, age old, and ये फेयर जनरली एक पार्क में जहाँ पे लगता था, तो they come to that place. Or defying curfew, some nationalist leader assembled there. They were doing a meeting. The speeches of those leaders were going on. So whoever the villagers came there, they started listening the speech. Gradually, lot of people, thousands of people, by the mid-afternoon, thousands of Indians had gathered in the park. When General Dyer came to know about this fact, Dyer arranged an aeroplane to overfly the park and estimate the size of the crowd. So later on, he estimated that around 6,000 people gathered there. Hunter Commission later on was organized, and according to report of Hunter Commission, around 10,000 people gathered in that park. Around 10,000 people gathered in that park. Now at 6:30, Colonel Dyer arrived at Bagh with 90 soldiers from the Gorkha Rifles and the 53 Sikh rifle and 59 Sindh rifle. मतलब ये बटालियन का नाम है. तो इस बटालियन ऑलमोस्ट 90 पीपल, 90 सोल्जर्स के साथ he came to that park. तो that park was surrounded by house on all its three sides. आगे एक वॉल था, पीछे surrounded by houses. एंड ऐसे तो 5 एंट्रेंस थे इसके, बट सारे एंट्रेंस लॉक होते थे, बंद होता था. एक छोटा सा एग्जिट और एंट्रेंस, एक दरवाजा मात्र था नैरो, जहां से अंदर जा सकते थे, जहां से बाहर आ सकते थे. तो नैरो पॉइंट ऑफ एंट्री एंड एग्जिट वाज देयर. दैट नैरो एंट्री एंड एग्जिट पॉइंट वाज क्लोज्ड. गाड़ी अंदर नहीं आ सकती थी, तो सम व्हीकल जिससे आए थे वो बाहर था, और गार्ड इंटर्ड एंड दे स्टार्टेड फायरिंग indiscriminately upon that unarmed crowd. So indiscriminate firing was going on till the last bullet comes to an end. जब तक आखिरी बुलेट खत्म नहीं हुआ, उस अनआर्म क्राउड पे कंटिन्यूअसली फायरिंग begins. This infamous incident is termed as Jallianwala Bagh Massacre. So let's see. We had supported British during the First World War with the hope that after the war will come to an end, we will get some incentive from them. So we got first incentive in form of Rowlatt Act. When we protest against Rowlatt Act, the second incentive that we got was Jallianwala Bagh Massacre. So after this, Dyer, without warning the crowd to disperse, later on he used to say he didn't have any intention to disperse the crowd. He didn't have any intention to disperse the crowd. What was his intention? Was not to disperse the meeting, but to punish the Indian for disobedience. He used to say he wanted to teach them a moral lesson why they disobey. So at least 379 people died according to British estimation during that time, official estimation of the British. 379 people, or also the Hunter Commission that was constituted to investigate this massacre, so said that 379 people died, and according to Congress during that time used to say almost about 1500 people died in that incident, and over 1000 people injured. From this well in that park, 120 bodies, people jump into this well to protect themselves from bullet, but 120 dead bodies were recovered from this well. That narrow point was there of entry and exit, and nowadays if you will go there, so you will find this memorial, martyrs memorial there in Jallianwala Bagh Park. So later on, Dyer used to say, I have heard that between 200 and 300 of the crowd were killed. I have heard that between 200 and 3 next day crowd were killed. My party fired 1650 rounds. 1650 गोलियां चली उस 10,000 के क्राउड के ऊपर. And when this incident occurred, a small child were serving water. दोपहर में काफ़ी गर्मी थी, तो जो वहाँ पे लोग थे उनको पानी दे रहा था. तो one little child from orphanage were serving water to the people, and he had witnessed this massacre, and then he had vowed to take revenge. इस मैस्केयर का बदला लेने की प्रतिज्ञा इसने की थी. He was Udham Singh. तो martyrs Udham Singh was present in that massacre. Somehow he could save his life there, Later on, after 20 years, in 1940 in London, in the Croxton Hall, he killed Missel O'Dyer, who were considered responsible for this massacre. So Michael Francis O'Dyer, who was Lieutenant Governor of Punjab during that time, and who had praised General Dyer for his bravery. So one of the eminent martyr or eminent nationalist leader, Udham Singh, has taken revenge later on in 1940 in the Croxton Hall in London by killing Francis O'Dyer, who were Lieutenant Governor of Punjab during that time. Now some homework question for you. तो एक होमवर्क तो पहले मिला था, उसको करोगे. You will have to recognize who is Mahatma Gandhi in that picture, and also you will write, explain initial experiment of Satyagraha by Gandhi ji. Why Gandhi ji called off Rowlatt Satyagraha? Let's see. After the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, the Rowlatt Satyagraha become violent, or so many violent incidents occurred in most part of the country, and that's why Gandhi ji used to say कि under such condition he could not carry out the Satyagraha movement or Rowlatt Satyagraha, and that's why he called off Rowlatt Satyagraha. So Gandhi ji called off Rowlatt Satyagraha after Jallianwala Bagh massacre. So in your homework question also, in third, write a short note on Jallianwala Bagh massacre and Rowlatt Act. So that's all for this video. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.